Right. So, hello students. Now we'll discuss the issues related to judiciary. So, the first thing is the first issue is master of the roster. So, what is the meaning of this roster? So, roster means a set of cases which are going to be allocated for various benches is called as a roster. Then who will decide which case is to be given to which bench? So this is decided by the Chief Justice of India. That's why he is called as master of the roster. So the main criticism is there is no particular procedure or any precedents or conventions based on which the Chief Justice of India allocates the cases to several benches. In the sense, the process is opaque. The allocation of cases to various benches is opaque. Therefore, this led to lot of criticism. Okay? And the Chief Justice of India is with the power to judicially exercise an important role of constituting benches. And this can't be used in an autocratic manner. There should be principles like neutrality, impartiality, and transparency. So this allocation of cases, the process of allocation of cases has been the discretionary power of the Chief Justice of India. And legal experts, most of them demanding for neutrality, impartiality, and transparency in the process of allocation of cases to the various benches. And also they are saying that case allotment should be rule based and falls within the boundaries of the objective criteria with limited scope for discretion. That means the decision should be objective in nature instead of subjective. And there should be more transparency and impartiality. So this has been the major demands with respect to transform the process of allocation of cases to the various judges. And also legal experts says that indisciplined exercise of this authority, which authority? Allocation of cases, can lead to a complete subversion of democracy. Okay, right. Now we will look into the major demands with respect to the how work is to be allocated among the benches. So the first thing is a just and fair roster must be that is the one divided subject wise among the judges according to their experience in those subjects. That means the another demand is the cases should be allocated based on the experience of the judges. So based on the subject matter of the case, because few judges are experts in few areas. So while allocating the cases, the experts in that case should be given that case. Okay, this is the major demand. And politically sensitive matters must be before the 5 senior judges of the Supreme Court. That means whatever the cases which are politically sensitive, those cases should be given to the 5 senior judges of the Supreme Court. And also the allocation of individual cases must be by random computer allocation, not by the individual decision of any human. And also the another recommendation with respect to the allocation of cases is that allocation should be based on computer. The allocation should be computer allocation instead of manual allocation of the cases. Okay. Now, what is the view? What is the Supreme Court's view on this? Supreme Court said that the Chief Justice of India is an individual judge and not the collective of 5 senior most judges of the Supreme Court called the Collegium. That means Supreme Court is trying to say that the Collegium should be confined only only with respect to the appointment of the judges. The collegium should not be involved in the process of allocation of cases to several benches. It is the discretionary power of the CJI to allocate the cases. So that is the intention of this view. And the second view of the court is a collegium to allocate cases would mean judges deciding for themselves which cases they should hear. So therefore, Supreme Court completely rejected the recommendations made by the various legal experts with respect to the allocation of the cases to the benches. Okay, and of course this has become a stronger ground for criticism of the prevailing practices at the Supreme Court. Okay, so the major criticism is politically sensitive cases and public interest litigations, social justice matters, contempt of court cases, matters dealing with appointment of constitutional functionaries have been given to the Chief Justice of India. That means mundane cases. Mundane cases means cases that don't have any importance, which are not politically sensitive, are given to the other senior judges. So meaning the major criticism is most important cases like cases regarding social justice matters, contempt of court matters and public interest litigations, all are allocated to the Chief Justice of India, and cases with less importance are allocated to the senior judges. Right? So now we will study the salaries and allowances of the judges of the Supreme Court. Okay? So the salaries, allowances, privileges, leave and pension of the judges of the Supreme Court are determined from time to time by the Parliament. However, Parliament cannot turn these things into their disadvantage after their appointment. That means the Parliament is empowered to determine the salaries, the allowances, privileges and pensions of the judges of a Supreme Court. Okay? However, the Parliament cannot change these provisions to the disadvantage of the judges after their appointment. And however, the Parliament can turn these provisions into the disadvantage of the judges when the financial emergency is in operation. Okay, we will discuss about financial emergency in the chapter called Emergency Provisions. Article 360 of the Indian Constitution talks about financial emergency. So during financial emergency, the Parliament can turn these provisions like salaries and allowances into the disadvantage of the judges of the Supreme Court. Right. And what are the other appointments that can be made in the Supreme Court? That means apart from the appointments of judges of a Supreme Court, what are the other appointments? They are acting Chief Justice. So what is the meaning of this? The President can appoint a judge of the Supreme Court as an acting Chief Justice of India. So when an acting Chief Justice is appointed, when the office of the CJI is vacant and the CJI of India is temporarily absent and the CJI is unable to perform the duties of his office. That means under these three conditions, they are if the office of the CJI is vacant, or if the CJI is temporarily absent, or if the CJI is unable to perform the duties of his office. So under these conditions, the President of India can appoint an acting Chief Justice, right? And the next type of appointment is ad hoc judge. So now ad hoc means temporary. So when there is a lack of quorum, what is the meaning of quorum? Quorum means minimum number of people minimum number of people required to conduct a particular process is called as a quorum. Okay, so when there is a lack of quorum of the permanent judges to hold or continue any session of the Supreme Court, the Chief Justice of India can appoint a judge of a high court as an ad hoc judge of the Supreme Court for a temporary period. That means the judge of a Supreme Court, the Chief Justice of a Supreme Court is empowered to appoint an ad hoc judge or a temporary judge to maintain the quorum, of a session of the Supreme Court. Okay, so of course it is not a discretionary power of the Chief Justice, meaning he has to consult the Chief Justice of the High Court concerned and with the previous consent of the President. That means the Chief Justice of India has to consult two members prior to the appointment of an ad hoc judge to maintain the quorum of a session of a Supreme Court. The two members are the Chief Justice of the High Court concerned. That means the High Court from which the ad hoc judge is going to be appointed, and the consent of the President, right? And of course, the judge who is going to be appointed as an ad hoc judge should have the qualifications for appointment as a judge of the Supreme Court. We have seen the qualifications for a person to be appointed as a judge of a Supreme Court in our previous lecture, right? Now, the third type of appointment is a retired judge. That means at any time, the Chief Justice of India can request a retired judge of the Supreme Court or a retired judge of a High Court, and of course, who is duly qualified for the appointment as a judge of the Supreme Court, to act as a judge of the Supreme Court for a temporary period, right? And he can do so. That means the CJI can do so only with the previous consent of the President and also of the person to be appointed. You have to note this point. With respect to ad hoc judges, the CJI has to consult only two members. They are the Chief Justice of the High Court concerned and the President of India. Whereas in case of retired judge, the CJI has to consult the person to be appointed as well as the President. So this is the major difference between the appointment of a retired judge as a temporary judge and the appointment of an ad hoc judge, right? And the next point is such a judge is entitled to such allowances as the President may determine, meaning the allowances or the salaries of the retired judge who is appointed as a judge for a temporary period is determined by the President. Okay, right? And he will also enjoy all the jurisdiction, powers and privileges of a judge of a Supreme Court. But he will not be deemed or he will not be considered to be a judge of the Supreme Court. What is the meaning of this? The designation, the judge of a Supreme Court, the designation called judge of a Supreme Court is not given to the retired judge. Though he is appointed as a judge of a Supreme Court temporarily, he will be called as retired judge only. That is the meaning. Whereas in case of ad hoc judge, he is called as a judge of a Supreme Court, right? Okay. Now the next thing is seat of Supreme Court. What is the meaning of seat of Supreme Court? Seat of Supreme Court means the place where Supreme Court conducts its operations, right? So the Constitution declares Delhi as the seat of Supreme Court, and of course we have Supreme Court in Delhi, but it also authorizes the Chief Justice of India to appoint other place or places as seat of the Supreme Court, and he can take decision in this regard only with the approval of the President. That means the Chief Justice of India can extend the seat of Supreme Court to other places only after consulting or only after getting approval of the president. And this provision says another thing. That means except CJI, no other court in India has right to recommend the seat of Supreme Court in other places, right? Now we look into procedure of the court. The Supreme Court can, with the approval of the president, make rules for regulating generally the practice and procedure of the court. That means the Supreme Court itself can determine the practices and procedures of the court after getting approval from the president, right? And the constitutional cases are usually decided by a bench consisting of at least 5 judges. That means to interpret the constitutional provisions or the cases regarding constitution should be dealt by a bench of at least 5 judges. That means that bench should not be less than 5 judges. And also in addition, references made by the president under Article 143. That means Article 143 empowers the president to seek advice from the Supreme Court in general matters, right? And of course, this also should be decided by the bench of at least 5 judges. That means if a president refer any issue to the Supreme Court, or if the president seek advice to the Supreme Court in any constitutional aspects, the Supreme Court has to initiate a bench of at least 5 judges to advise to the president. And all other cases, that means apart from references made by the president and apart from the constitutional cases, all other cases are usually decided by a bench consisting of not less than 3 judges. So from this we can say that there is democracy in the process of judgments, because the minimum members of a constitutional bench to decide the case is 3 members. And of course the judgment is pronounced when there is a support of at least 2 judges. So that means the judges can express their dissent towards the judgment. So in this way, the Constitution has tried to establish democracy in decision making or in the process of giving judgment. Okay, dear students, in the next lecture, we will discuss the independence of the Supreme Court, what is the meaning of the independence of the Supreme Court, and why independence is necessary. Okay, thank you.